Archfiends of Chaos. It's your King of the Night, Vincent Valentine BX Turk, and looks like I'm gonna have to school people. Looks like I'm gonna have to expose and school people that just don't understand. So we're gonna be talking about the Crystallium Novia. What is the Crystallium Novia? Here is the simplest answer for the Crystallium Fabula Crystallium Novia. Then these are the official Fabula Crystallium Novia games. Unless Angie's philosophy does not get changed or altered, which more likely is going to happen if we consider Final Fantasy 16. But we're not talking about that game. The reason why I'm going to bring this up is the fact that we still got people in the fan base still confused, saying that Tabata didn't do. Tabata took away Tetsuya Norma's. Tabata took away Tetsuya Norma's vision. No, he just changed the names. If you look at Ravis in his Ontaria form, what does that look like to you? Don't be stupid. It looks like a Seath from Final Fantasy 13. That's what it looks like. It looks like a Seath from Final Fantasy 13. Nothing more, nothing less. Now, why you ask this is significant? Because, I'm tired of people spreading misinformation, first of all, okay? Now, at one point in time, Final Fantasy 15, the game that you're seeing right here, was part of the Fabula Crystallium Novias. When Tetsuya Norma was working on it. And that was like 2006? That's so many years ago. The reason why I said in my video that people hate so much that what if Final Fantasy 15 stayed versus 13, the reason why I said that they would have the tropes of Final Fantasy 13, because it would. Okay, when you play this game, Type 0, it plays just like Final Fantasy 13. And you want me to explain the tropes? Do you want me to explain? Do I have to explain to people? Or until we finally get it that it's exactly the same thing? I guess we will. Okay, Final Fantasy Type 0, you fight General Quarter, one of the bosses, one of the antagonists, 2 times. And the White Tiger Lassie 2 times. You know what game also makes you fight your enemies 2 times? Final Fantasy 13 and Final Fantasy 13 2. Now, I'm pretty sure they would make that happen in Lightning's Return, but due to time constraints and due to having to save the world in, 15 days? No, 7 days. Due to time constraints, you have to save the world in 7 days. They didn't have time to fight the same boss twice. You could just play through the campaign and fight all different, difficulty versions of all the enemies in this one. But notice how Type 0 is exactly like this game, and exactly like this game. You fight the antagonist twice. Not to mention information about Etro, information about little pieces of information about Etro, little pieces of information about Lassie and Seath. Now, Final Fantasy 15 has kept Seath in it, but it's not called Seath. I mean, Tabata has not. Okay, Tabata has Seath in the Final Fantasy 15 game. It's just not called Seath. It's called, when Ravens turns to that form, it's actually demons. Demons, pretty much demons are what Seath are. If you really look at it, humans turn to Seath. The Star Scourge that Ifrit has caused. Okay, the Star Scourge that Ifrit has caused turns humans into demons. And yes, they're basic Final Fantasy monsters, but the concept how if a human gets sick in Final Fantasy 13, they turn into Seath. You see how Tabata kept that in there? Just change the name. It's the same exact thing. It's just the only thing they took out in 15 was any mention of Etro, any mention of Seath, any mention of Lassie. but it's still the same game. It's just cut. It's just edited and chopped in half. That's all it is. Because Tabata didn't want to have multiple sequels because he didn't want to play into that stereotype. That's why Tabata took out most of the stuff. Now he could have put some more stuff in there to fill it up, but you know, he's trying to cram. He was trying to cram a whole entire trilogy into one game, and he did that well. It was short, yes, and in fact, the game's going to get much longer with the DLC. So if you get the game a little bit later on, you'll probably enjoy it a lot better than most of us. But I get Versus 13 is very sacred. It is very sacred to the Final Fantasy fan base because it was the only Final Fantasy 13 that was actually really good. I mean, Type 0 was mediocre and people hated, the Lightning trilogy. I understand that. But it's like, it would have been, if Tetsuya Nomura would have been the director of Final Fantasy 15, maybe it might not be called Versus 13, okay? Maybe, I don't know, or if he kept it as Versus 13. I said, what if he kept it as Versus 13 and not Final Fantasy 15? What if, it stayed to what it was originally, What if it stayed to what it originally is, If it stayed to what it originally is, dude, it would have been another Final Fantasy 13 type. Because that's what a Crystalium Novia game is. A Crystalium name, the stereotypes, the Fabula Crystalium games follow. You fight your enemies more than twice or more. There's mention of the goddess Etro, Lindsay, Pulse, and even Benevelza. Just even small mention. It could be a picture. It could be someone talking about it. An NPC talking about it. Or it could have a cutscene. Or you could just see glimpses of stuff that reminds you of those gods. Because those are the Fabula Crystalium Novia gods. Now, Final Fantasy 15 had to scrap those gods, which made the game a lot shorter. But Tabata has kept the same vision that Tetsuya Nomura wanted, just renamed it. Even Tetsuya Nomura could tell. I mean, he's the one who approved the game and said, go ahead and send it out. It looks good. It looks good the way it is. He's the one who approved the game. That's why it came out. I mean, yes. Sure, Tetsuya Nomura gave the rights to Tabata because he needed to focus on Kingdom Hearts 3 and the Final Fantasy 7 remake, since those are big games to come. But I get tired of the fan base arguing with me, saying, "Oh, I hate you for supporting this game." Yeah. That's exactly what your haters sound like. You sound stupid. You sound mentally retarded. I'm sorry, I know it's politically incorrect, but I don't give a fuck. I'm gonna say, you guys are fucking retards for not acknowledging that Final Fantasy 15 is the same game as Versus 13. Just cut, edit, replace Lassie with demons. Take out Etro, all Eidolons or Astrals. You don't fight Eidolus more than once. You see him in a cutscene, then you fight him for the last time. End of fucking story. End of fucking story, okay? It's still the same game. Ravis turns into something that's Seath-like. It's just named differently. But like I said, the Fabula Crystalium Novia follows stereotypes. The stereotypes it follows is that there's there's mentions of, again, Etro, Lindsay, Pulse, Lassie, Falsi, Benevelza, Seath. It's still the same thing. Tabata has made this game same vision as Tetsuya Nomura. It's just chopped down, cut, down and cut out of the product so it would be a legit Final Fantasy 50. How do you call, anything that's in the Fabula Crystalallis ends up being a Final Fantasy 13? Such as, if you play Final Fantasy Type 0 and actually understand its original name was Final Fantasy 13 Agato. Well, actually, Agato Final Fantasy 13. I got correct at the Final Fantasy 15 launch, so I got corrected, so I'm not, I'm using the correct button. This used to be Agato Final Fantasy 13. But it still plays like that. There's mentions of Lassie in here. Etro does play some pieces into this. And there's such thing as Seath. What is not to get? And it's still a dark, gritty game, of course. Well, I think this is pretty much, besides 15, that was under Tabitha's order. But Tabitha kept the original stuff in there with the Final Fantasy 13. And I guess it would make sense because Type 0 is what it is. Type 0, it's a spin-off game, It's a spin-off game. I still think it's canon to the original Final Fantasy 13, just in a different area, But he's kept some of the same stuff. But to make this officially a Final Fantasy 15, he needed to scrap Etro out of this. All Seaths are demons, There's no Etro, none of that stuff, none of anything Final Fantasy 13. In fact, it was mostly focused on the Lucius Kylium family bloodline. And focused on the struggle between it. It was still the same game because there was a huge struggle between the Lucius Kylium kingdom of Insomnia and the Niflheim Empire. It was still the same game. They just took out some stuff from the other games. But you guys are so retarded. I see your fucking comments, and you look more stupid and retarded when you go around acting like it wouldn't play the same stereotype if it was kept under Tetsuo Norma. I get Tetsuo Norma's a wonderful creative director, but he's not the best director. I think the game was perfect under Tabitha's jurisdiction, okay? It was perfect, because he still kept what Tetsuo Norma wanted. He just took out Final Fantasy 13 stuff, so it's officially Final Fantasy 15. But you're so retarded you don't figure that out. And then you call yourselves fans? You call yourself fans of the series? How do you call yourself fans of the series if you don't even know an elementary fact? And I'm sorry for insulting you, but you go in my comments and troll and bully me and tell me to go kill myself. I'm a faggot. You'll never say this shit to my face, so shut the fuck up. I'm done with this rant. I've schooled you guys. If you guys don't get it, then I'm sorry that you might need to stay in the special needs classes. I'm sick of this shit on my fucking video. So I'm gonna end this right here. May the crystal be with you. This is why I don't have an intro, because this turned to a rant in school. So I don't have no intro. So may the crystal be with you. Have a nice day. I'm pissed.